At?
She's going to continue.
At? Oh.
We're recording, by the way.
Oh.
We did that in the other video too with the mustache. When you did your hair mustache? All right. Anyway, welcome to a very serious episode.
Very serious.
Very
Clearly.
serious. About
ethereal.
About mental health. Something that affects us all. And about Will's and I's mental health and how we deal with Kayla every day. She drives us nuts with pictures of her toes and the whatnot.
They're good pictures.
You don't want to see the bad pictures.
Yeah, you don't.
So yeah, I think it's good to get started, go around the class, and just a little bit of your. So just as a heads up, everybody, I'm a psychology major, so I'm here to solve everyone's problem.
Isn't that what Britta from Community always says?
Yes.
Probably. I had one Psych 101 class. I know how the world works. Yeah, so let's just kind of I can start if you guys want me to go, just because.
Yeah, just go. You started off. You started off Psych major.
Sure. So I've had a lot of problems in my life. Mental health and I, we
go way back.
We go way back, way back. So yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, I've definitely had quite the row with depression that still pops up every now and then. Anxiety has become a factor in my life. Less so, but still, it certainly happened somewhere I want to say post college or somewhere at the end of college. And yeah, it's been a journey, and I'm a lot healthier now. It was terrible back then. It was not great. It was it's my dog. He's a
I thought that was your anxiety and your. You hear it?
God. She's getting triggered. I need to get in there. Yeah, so I've had my dark days, and it's been a journey. So we'll discuss later some coping things that I've certainly done that we've kind of examined as a group. But yeah, that's my experience with it.
Gotcha.
Oh.
All right. Well, I think we can call this an episode.
That was great. Yes, the dog clearly.
I've been to therapy a couple times. I've been in and out of it. I saw the same. All right, Titus. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah,
relax.
really.
He's like, what? I've been in and out of it. In my early 20s, I went for a couple months and then I stopped. And then actually I went through a breakup and then I went back because of that. And then it was weird as it sounds, therapy almost gave me anxiety on a certain level. It helped with a lot of things, but it also I don't know, you ever feel you're sitting on the couch and you don't have anything to say and it makes you anxious and you're watching the clock?
Yeah.
But that being said, it definitely has helped me in a lot of ways as well. I dealt with a lot of depression in my teenage years, as most people did. What does he say in The Office? I feel like I never really processed 9/11. Things like that. And now that I'm, in my 30s, actually, my anxiety is peaked, as you say. I have issues sleeping. I take sleep meds sometimes when I can't get to sleep, and yeah, it's difficult. And I think that there's definitely a stigma around males and mental health issues versus females, which there shouldn't be. Males are mental health care for men, and up until 95 was suck it up, or go to the army, or go to a strip club, or whatnot. So
that's very true.
Yeah. Do you know what the statistics are for men and suicide?
Oh, you guys have the highest.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
Men have the highest.
I actually have right here from AFSP.org, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Men died by suicide in 2019 3.63 times as often as women.
Yeah.
And white males accounted for 69% of suicide deaths in 2019. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's something I always have argued with people who say, like, to suck it up. I'm like, you
Right.
saying that literally is killing your gender.
Yeah,
Like,
literally. No, it's
you're literally, like, you guys are literally, like, and I argue that all the time. Like, I'm like, it drives me up the wall. I hate when people say that. I'm like, feel your fucking feelings. But of course,
seriously.
you know, it's easier to say that. It's hard to actually do it, especially when everyone's like, don't feel anything.
And you know what? It's like this is almost a different discussion in and of itself, but like a lot of it comes from men, but a lot of it also comes from women because I feel like women,
Yeah.
you know, there is still a large sect of women who actually like want their men to sort of be stone faced and not feel emotions and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's just society as a whole just expects men to just be, you know,
Carry
tough
that
and
weight.
just
yeah,
and like
Sure.
women can be like whatever type of emotion they want. Like if something terrible happens to a family, like the man is expected to just hold it down.
they got to be the
And like,
rock.
if he's
Yeah,
gonna break down, he can break down at the bar with his
yeah,
bartender,
seriously, yeah.
but he can't break down anywhere else. Like he can't
Sure.
be visible about it. And it's like it's terrible.
What about you, Wilbur?
Well, I guess not to kind of pile on to like the stereotypes of things, but especially I guess in being black male in America, um, you know, you're always kind of taught the same thing. It's just like, hey, look, you deal with this. You got to man up. You got to power through. And you know, there's always that stigma and kind of like, you know, you're not supposed to go to therapy in the black community. Like that is an evil, or you know, that's oh, if you go to therapy, something's clearly wrong with you and you shouldn't do it. And it's kind of like a, you know, I've gone to therapy. I did find it quite helpful when I was a teenager myself.
Hmm.
And yeah, you know, like there's just a lot of pressure that you have to deal with. You know, I I always kind of say, you know, I know I've opened up to you guys about it as well. Like when I walk into an area, I have to be more astute, more aware of what's my surroundings are
Right,
looking like because people are more, oh yeah, look at the large black guy who just walked in.
right.
What's he about to do? You know,
Yeah,
and yeah, it's just something that just never really goes away. You always have to be careful about how you talk and walk and things like that. It's just, you know, it's a lot to kind of just have to carry
yeah. That's a
all the
lot of
time.
anxiety is driven from that.
Right. And I
Yeah,
think that especially what you were talking about with suicide, I kind of see that, at least in my community, that there's least more destructive behavior patterns as far as,
right.
you know, alcohol, drug use, things like that. And
They
it's
act out
escape.
like black men act out in a different way.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's more, hey, smoke this, do whatever to, or, you know,
right.
drink this, drink your pains away. We're going to go out and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, do all these things to vent instead of dealing with the issues. Just, well, let me just go over here and just ignore it. And then hopefully it goes away.
I feel like that speaks to more toxic masculinity in a way too. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, so
Yeah.
often it has. Like I said, I can only really speak for my community. Like I know, like my dad, even though me and my dad have a good relationship, um, there will always still be got the kind of like the, hey, yeah, Dad, I'm having a tough time with this. He's like, would you think it was any better for me when I was coming up? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
so
It's funny.
yeah, you deal with it.
My dad was like that when I was younger, and then I got older, and he was less. He was more attentive and like less like, I don't know, but it's yeah. I just feel like yeah, like in this society, it's. I think the stigma though is going away, thankfully.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Slowly but surely, it's like becoming socially acceptable for men to have emotions.
because it's
You know?
so dumb. Because it's like I mean the stigma, not even just for men, but in mental health in general, I feel like
Mhm.
is going away because it's just dumb. It's just like you're going to the doctor. It's like
Yeah.
it's like people
Well,
yell
like,
at you for like going for lupus treatment. Would
when
they
I
judge you
first
for that?
like when I first so I started therapy in high school, and I've been like consistent, pretty consistent since I was 16 or 15, so heck of a long time. But um, even when I first started, it was like my family was like it was a little odd for everybody to like everyone kind of like felt like a little about like they weren't like they thought like I was like a little crazy. Um, But given like the circumstances and how badly I was doing, they were like, "That's okay if we think you're a little crazy.
Right.
Like we'd rather you," because it was like, you know, I was like pretty suicidal in high school, and you know, it kind of came to a point where it was a little bit life or deathy, which I think is like a very common theme for a lot of people. And my extended family, you know, anyone who found out was just like, "Oh, like she went to therapy," and like. I just say it to everybody, and it's just like I don't really seem to get that much of a pushback anymore, or like that weird treatment. But definitely, like I would say maybe like
So why should you?
in my teens, it was considered weird, but now like I'm like, oh yeah, like in therapy or my therapist, and like I don't really either. Maybe I'm not paying attention, but like I have not noticed anyone really being a jerk to me about it or like treating me differently.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely improving. The one thing I wish that like our country was better at was just like making mental health more like either like mental health care more available for communities and people, because it's so difficult to get that treatment, and a lot of them like require these like extensive copays, and it's just like not as prevalent for
my
people.
therapist was $40 a week.
Yeah, and like not everybody can, and it sucks because it's just like not everyone can afford that, and it's just it's hard. Like, and you know, it's something that betters yourself and makes you happy, and or it helps you work towards happiness, and not everyone can afford to have that. So, you know, it's hard. And then also, I know it's also hard to find the right therapist. Like, I went through so many people to find the right one, and it gets exhausting, like putting your heart out.
Yeah.
And I thank God, like almost every single day that I have a therapist right now who like I love, who I can literally and be like, here's my shit, and won't judge me, like knows how to talk to me and give me what I need. Like it's a blessing, because I know it's hard for people to find, and it's worth it. I mean, it's worth it. Like as someone who's gone through a million different therapists over the course of like 10 years almost, actually, yeah, I think 10 years at this point. I mean, it's worth it to go through all these people and finally have that person, because the amount of growth that I felt like I've done in the past few years with just this one therapist is just like phenomenal. Like, I feel like the person I was when I was like 21 is much different from who I am now.
Yeah, no, that's good. And we can tell that you're in like a much better place.
Yeah.
Mentally. And I feel like, you know, I don't want to speak for you, Will, but I mean, I feel like we all are. I mean,
yeah, I think we've definitely all.
I mean,
I feel like I'm the same. Meh.
Honestly, I feel, for reasons I won't go into, like 2020 was so difficult for, you know, like there's obvious reasons that everyone knows about. There's reasons people don't, but like, just thinking about how bad that was, it's just sort of like it's crazy how far me and my family have come to like. And how much better we are. I'm thinking about that is crazy, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I tend to like to think of it like, I mean, 2020 was just difficult all the way around for a lot of different people. I mean, a lot of things is, you know, you have your community, you have your core of people that you lean upon and you talk to and you try to help guide you through things. So, you know, I know that you got us,
right?
You have your family, your brother, you know, things like that. You tend to lean on those people when you're going through those times.
It's true. I said that when I turned 30, I thought I'd be sad, but like when I turned 30, but then like it's like, what's the alternative to me turning 30? Like, go back in time and be 20? I was miserable when I was fucking 20.
Yeah.
I didn't have you guys when I was 20, so.
Yeah, I like to say, you know, Brendan met me, and
and life dramatically stayed the same. No, I'm kidding.
Right, and then we met Kayla. It was here, and then we met Kayla, and then it was.
And then it was just middle of the road the whole way there.
Got a little bit more wild.
Yeah.
A little bit more deathy. Little stabby.
I mean, my therapist says all the time, like having a support system is so important, you know, huge. And like that's something again that like I've met so many people who like have come to me with issues, and they're like, I don't know, like literally I would be the only person they could talk to, because they didn't really have anyone else that they could like talk to.
Oh, the three of us are good with that. With like, I feel like we're always like, we
we're
always vent to each other, and if we need to.
And I think it's like that's something that like I'm always grateful for. Like I'm grateful for my therapist, and I'm always grateful that I have such a great support system where like I have all these people who I know are going to be there for me and are always going to want my best interest. And it's like it's that's so critical with like maintaining and improving your mental health. So that's one thing. But like leading into that, support systems. Other things that I like to recommend to people that I feel like I say all the time whenever people present like continuous problems. Getting drunk? No, please don't. I say as I drink bourbon. This is the treat.
Cheers.
Yes, cheers. Will's a good boy today.
It's a school night.
It's a school night.
Don't drink on school nights.
I feel like I'm most inclined to drink.
On school night. Yeah, I feel like on weekend nights I'm just chilling.
After like reading so much, I'm exhausted. So I will say something I always tell people to do, and everyone's like, "Oh, like it's kind of hoity-toity." It's meditation. I swear by meditation. The amount of because I also have like a serious problem with like intrusive thoughts, and like
it's
recently come to terms with this or found this term called daymares. Which I think actually Charles Dickens created, which is, how people daydream and like, oh, like this is this fantasy world that I want to live in and whatever. I have daymares where like I can get lost in this imaginary world where this awful, like I'm having like these intense, like how people have like these fake arguments in the shower or these things have like a couple weeks ago because I like fell off meditating for a while and I recently got back into it, so it's been significantly better. But before that, I was like, I would spend entire drives, like my drive to school is like an hour and a half. I would spend that whole time having a verbal argument with myself in the car with another person, and it was nothing good. Like all it did was make me angry, upset, and like
all that does is spin your wheels. Like it doesn't.
It's just and like I would be so into it. It would like consume me so completely. Like it felt more than just like a simple like imaginary conversation. Like it felt like it would just like I would get heated. I'd be like gripping the steering wheel on these like fake arguments, and like ever since I started meditating again, I've been able to step back from those thoughts and kind of like, just see them float by instead of like engaging in them, or at least being aware of them and being able to pull myself back so that they don't consume me, because all it was doing, like I was so angry like all the time, and I felt like I was very prone to anger, and like it was like a problem.
You were.
I feel like it was I mean there was times
to embrace the anger.
I feel like you only ever got like angry like once at us.
What, at you guys?
Or Will?
At us. I mean, like angry.
I'm angry.
No, not you. I was talking about Caleb.
Oh.
What? You've gotten angry at us once or twice too. I've gotten angry at y'all. We get angry at the people we love the most.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's communication. If you're able to talk about it, be like, hey, just so you know, you're being a little...
Well, no, like, if you don't mind me saying, like, I think what you did when you got angry at us was, like, the perfect thing. Because I remember, like, you left, and then, like, the next day you discussed it. But you knew that if, like, you had talked about it at the moment, like, you wouldn't have...
I wasn't going to be able to.
You wouldn't have had a clear head with doing it. Yeah, and, like, I think, like, taking time and doing that, like,
that's generally what I do. Because
when I get angry, I get silent, because I know I will just say hurtful, mean shit that I don't actually mean, that I'm just saying because I'm angry, and like that's and Will, I remember, God, I don't even remember like the time you.
I don't remember him getting angry. I think just like to a point where he's just like maybe like I don't know.
But like, the thing is, like, you've always like discussed it. Like, you've never like blown up. You'll be like, yo, you'll be like, yo, I'm pissed at you, and like X, Y, and Z is why.
No, I have levels like to it. Like, there's phase one where I just confront it. Right. Like, I confront you on the situation. Like, yo, what are we doing here? Like, for real, And most of the time, you guys will kind of pick up on that, and it either de-escalates or like I get annoyed and stuff like that. I feel like I'm always annoyed at stuff, but like if you go from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3, then when I have to I have to choke you out a little bit. Just
We'll have to cut that out in post.
yeah.
Kayla said,
on that note, Will, what triggers you?
Let's see. Almost dying for 3 several times in the summer.
The thing about meditation is my mind. I don't seem. I mean, maybe I do. I don't know how I seem to other people. Even though I feel like I seem at first like quiet. Like my mind is like very loud. So there's a lot like going on in my mind. Like, and I actually I do have pretty bad ADD. So like meditation is like when I can do it, it's good. But like sometimes I'm just like thinking about shit too much, and like sometimes I'll find on YouTube like guided meditation, and it doesn't work. The thing I found that actually helps my anxiety the most is actually cleaning. As weird as that sounds.
That's actually a thing. Mindful cleaning is like a thing. That's like that's actually on my meditation app. That's like an actual practice.
And like whenever I feel like anxious, like I'll like look at my apartment, I'll just be like, I'm breaking out the vacuum. I'm just gonna like, even if it's something as simple as like literally like wiping down my counter, it's like, I'm like, all right, I like feel a little bit better. And what also helps with that is exercising and going to the gym.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
yes.
I would say like going to the gym, I think the mental benefits that you get from going to the gym actually outweigh the physical benefits.
Yeah,
because you know what I mean. Like if you've ever had a shit day, and then like and you go to the and you're like, I'm not gonna work out. And you're like, fuck it, I'll work out. And then you have like
heavy ass weight,
and you have a good workout. Then you're just like you feel better about yourself.
I'll do like a heavy weight that like I will like sit in that one rep is just like painful as hell, but I'm just like like I'm just like fuck today. I'm gonna lift this shit, and then like crazy.
I love lifting heavy ass weights.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I think, like, because of it, it's like no matter what's going on in the world or whatever, like if you're able to bench press or just whatever weight you put up, like that's no lie. That's something that you've done.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's like an accomplishment.
Nobody can take that away from you.
That comes back to like,
say, oh, you cheated. Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's being able to control something. Like in an uncontrollable world, where I feel like everything else is slipping away from you. You're like, at least I still got this. At least I still got that.
Or if you spent more than 2 hours around Kayla, you understand how little control you have and things.
That's when you jump on the punching bag and you're just like, I don't want to see your toes.
Punching bags? I just go to bars and just tell them their sports teams suck.
Well, that's
what I did.
That's a good way to get violent.
And I'm like, Red Sox are lame. And then I'll just point at everyone's socks and I'll be like, no,
And
is that what you'll do?
Clearly, Discord is a massive Red Sox fan.
Oh my god!
They are a massive Red Sox fan and did not approve.
That was amazing. It just like completely cut out.
It was just like we will not have Red Sox.
Yeah, they're like, how dare you?
You see the door.
Oh, wow.
That's wild. I can't believe it completely
the FBI agent who's watching us was just like, nope.
Not today. He's
not today.
Not today, ma'am. Click.
Wow. Well, guess they won't bash the socks.
David Ortiz is a national treasure.
Yes. Go sports.
Go sports. All sports.
Go sports.
Go sports.
What about you? Is the gym your main mental health thing for coping and stuff?
Gym is definitely gym and music. Those are my 2 outlets for sure. I'll go lift or I'll go be creative. In a sense, I'll make like sad music. I'll make happy, aggressive music. Or I'll just really go to the gym and just bench press it out sometimes.
I recommend it to anybody. I recommend it to anybody. I don't want to name any names, but there's people that are like I couldn't do shit at the gym, and I was just like I couldn't do shit at the gym. Like nobody judges you at the gym. Just go and just like work out. Like everyone.
I judge everybody.
I
Well,
don't. You do.
One thing I want to say is like exercise is great, and like not everyone likes to lift weights, but like find physical
what you
activity.
like to do.
Yeah, find what you like. Maybe you like running. Maybe walking does it for you. Yeah. Maybe I listened to a podcast where this woman, she was like, I hated everything, and then she started surfing, and that was it for her. Like she was sold on surfing. That was a physical activity. Like her soul. She lives near an ocean, so good for her. I can't go surfing on the Hudson River.
I mean, you can. It just won't be very fun.
People just say, "Get out! You're in the way of our fishing lines."
And you're like, "Wait, is that a worm?"
Sweet.
It's high in protein.
I catch the fish, and I'm like, "Stop! Put back!" And
you're jumping in the boat. And you're like, "Put back! I can't breathe up here."
It's like it's a fish.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but like find what works for you, and like in terms of meditation, find the mindful practice that works for you. And also, if you can't meditate for 10 minutes, meditate for a minute. Do a simple breathing exercise. Yeah, baby steps are better than no steps.
Exactly. Like, if you can't bench whatever you want, but bench something. I don't care what you believe in. Just believe in it.
Get a baby, bench it. You'll feel great. Benching babies. That's my gym. All the weights are babies.
All newborns. We have to replace them monthly. It's like you have the newborns. You know how you have the gyms go up in weight? They go up in like age. Just like now over here you have the 9 to 12 months.
I was curling a 2-year-old the other day. That's my gym. Babies are us. See,
it's weird that Discord shut her off about that, but not about the baby.
But not this part, right?
Discord is pro baby.
It's pro benching babies. Sorry.
Benching babies. Discord's like, benching babies? Go for it. Talk shit about the Red Sox. Get the fuck out.
You're off.
You're done. Game over. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
So, but that's something I did want to talk about in this, and I brought it up before, but I think toxic masculinity is a very real thing, and you have a lot of people say that it isn't a really real thing, or it is whatever it is.
It's very real. That's what's it's toxic masculinity.
It's a very real thing.
Murder, like
it's how I expect to die.
It's been correlated with the suicide rates that will, but
it's funny. I wouldn't expect it to be honest. I would expect the opposite. Because you two know me about as well as anybody does. You know I'm not a macho guy. I'm the opposite. And I've gotten shit for that in my life from people who, are toxic. And, people believe that men should be a certain way and do a certain thing and carry themselves a certain way. Mm-hmm. And it's gotten me, especially in school, it drove me to some pretty dark places, So it's ironic. I feel that that's actually been correlated with that. I would assume it'd be the opposite.
Well, the toxic masculinity is like that's essentially what was bullying you,
right?
Then that you have to do that, and then so it's been correlated to suicide for men because they're not allowed to have emotions. They're not allowed to feel. If you're not allowed to feel, like it just keeps piling up, and then like you blow up. Maybe you have like physical altercations or like verbal altercations, and that's kind of how you let loose. But like after a while, like you just feel like, what's the point, And that's like what tends to happen. So I have always like that's one thing I've always loved that you do is that you allow yourself to have emotions, and I think that's a lot stronger than just not having emotions because you're literally going against society, but then you're also preserving your own well-being,
right? And
like
and people
your life against what society wants.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then there's people that like pretend and don't have emotions and all that stuff, and like, it's a crazy thing. I've always found. I think it's the line from I think it's American Gangster. It says the loudest guy in the room is usually the weakest guy in the room.
And
I've always felt that. Like I've always felt. Yeah. The more you have to prove that you're the strong. You know what I mean? I like the less you are. And it's funny because it's always been counterintuitive. Yeah, exactly. Like you're putting your feelings in somebody else's.
Your value is defined by others, not by yourself. And that therefore makes you weak. Like if your power is not within yourself and it's in others, like then you have no power.
Like I again don't want to name any names, but I've had people that are just like I like, you know what I mean? Like I went to see like Frozen in theaters.
Friends, right?
Yeah. And I told somebody that.
I fucking love Frozen.
I told somebody that, and they were just like, "That's not something I would go around telling people." And I was like, "Why the fuck not?" Like I fucking love that movie. I'll see it again, and if it came out in theaters again, I would go and see it again.
You know, you should tell that person he should just let it go. I love Frozen. I've seen it a million times.
Yeah, it's a great fucking movie. Like, hey, listen, if you didn't want to see Frozen in theaters, there's something wrong with you. All right?
Yeah.
You both went to see Frozen for different reasons, but you know.
Did you see Elsa?
Okay. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Now that's a queen.
I love. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like the second movie, they didn't out her, but like they pretty much were just like.
They made her. They just put her in the woods, and they're just like
right. But like it was like I feel like that was like Disney's concession because they like weren't ready for the first gay princess, but they were like, all right, but everyone was like, all right, Elsa's clearly gay, but like like she was like, guys, you know it, we're just gonna put her in the woods. Like
they just forgot the flannel shirt. It's in her closet. She'll get it. Don't worry. Like next episode, it's like Elsa in a blue flannel.
Yeah, right. Chopping wood out there. She got the half shave.
Half shaved head. It's just like, hey, what's going on? She's like, stop.
Thick glasses. She's like,
oh my god, yeah.
You guys like my Birkenstocks? Yeah.
Really into craft beers now.
Yeah.
You know, that is something I've never. Well, I enjoy all.
She got the Bernie Sanders shirt on.
I'm about to say, so you would say you were never into craft beers?
I'm into all beers. What is like? Well, maybe my drinking bourbon is like a lesbian giveaway. I don't know. Would that be?
Not really. There's some who enjoy. I've met like plenty of straight girls who like enjoy like whiskey and bourbon.
God, I wish I met more of them because I don't meet many who enjoy a good burb.
A good burb.
A good bourbon. Men are just like, oh wow, like you can drink the boys.
It's like honestly, if you meet a girl who likes Hennessy,
go home with the women. That's
if you met a girl who likes Hennessy, it's not very hard to convince her to like, hey, drink this instead.
Fair enough.
I mean, if I met a girl who liked Hennessy, I would probably run.
That's a lot of energy. I don't even
That's
think
the way I am.
Hennessy. I've never really been a Hennessy fan. I mean, I don't know. I haven't had it in a very long time, so who knows what I think about it.
I mean, it's not great, but that's it. It's just not great.
I would run from that, or if they asked what my astrological sign was.
Either
or, I'm out of there.
What's the location and the time you were born?
Yes.
Like, I'm a Scorpio.
Oh, man.
I'm like, I don't care.
I'm a Pisces. That's why I'm crying.
I'm a Virgo. And
that makes that's what everyone will say. Oh, that makes sense why you clean.
I'm a Will.
That's what's funny is like
you're Leo, Will?
That's the good thing.
I'm a Will.
Oh, you're a Will.
And when there's a will, there's a way.
Aren't you a Leo?
No. He's a Gemini. Because technically, according to Geminis, are supposed to be like super bipolar, but I've never really experienced that with
That would make sense because you're two people. Actually, Virgos are it's some things with Virgos I like match up with, and some things I don't. I'm sure that's everything. Like, and they do a good job with horoscopes. Like,
they make it very general. You know, I'm not a big fan of it.
You're like, oh my god, that is me. Like,
I hate when people are like, "Oh, you're Pisces, you're super emotional." I'm like, no. I'm emotional because I'm fucking emotional.
No. Yes, but no.
It's like they're always like, with those horoscopes. They're always like super vague in general. Like you can decide to make a change in life. You know, you should do it. Like, yes, I will cut my toenails today.
My girlfriend, she'll be like, Danielle, she'll be like, oh, there's, because she's a Virgo, she'll read like a daily astrology, and she'll be like, oh, today someone's gonna say something to me that's gonna be like jarring. And then like someone will say like the most random thing.
Like what?
And I'm like, you couldn't literally anything could have been that. But I'm like, hey, if it makes you happy, it helps you cope with the world and the uncertainty that is life, go for it.
Yeah, it's true.
is all about coping in healthy ways. And then occasionally, if you need a drink, you're allowed to.
I just think that people, like, it's fun and it's like whatever, but I do think that there's people that are just like, where the stars were when you were born has no effect on you.
Yeah, I get upset if I try to judge my character too much. I'm like, you don't even know my favorite color. Shut the fuck up. Like, get out of here. I'm like, that tells more about me than anything.
Yeah.
Red, fire, come on.
Or what Hogwarts house you are.
Yes!
Yeah.
I think, you know what? I think the Hogwarts houses tells more about you.
That's going to be a future episode.
But, yes.
Well, have you done the Pottermore quiz, Will?
Yeah, he did. He's a Gryffindor. You did. I made you guys do it, like...
Because that would have been a good...
I know.
Anyway, we're getting way off topic.
Right, yeah.
Harry Potter.
Yeah, mental health. And now we have a video of Will doing his Pottermore quiz. How we got here, I don't know.
So one thing I did want to mention, there's a hair in my mouth. Following toxic masculinity is toxic families. And this is something that I've personally dealt with, which has recently improved because I've approached my family and I've said, "Hey, quit your shit, or I'm beat your ass."
Sounds healthy.
And then I've also encountered plenty of people in my life who deal with toxic families and haven't exactly developed a healthy way to deal with it. And one thing that I've noticed is a very common phrase in toxic families. And I don't know if you guys saw on Facebook that I posted about it, but I was just remembered about it listening to this other podcast. Was this whole belief that blood is thicker than water. Mm-hmm. And Brendan, I think I actually mentioned this to you the other day, but that actual phrase is completely butchered. When people say blood is thicker than water is a completely butchered term. The actual phrase is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. And in that, obviously the womb, represents family because that's, you came from the womb, and obviously. And the blood of the covenant, it's kind of like a military slogan where the people you choose to align yourself with, which would be your covenant, is thicker than the water of the womb, your family. Because your family is forced upon you, and your family that's forced upon you could be completely toxic and terrible and manipulative and gaslighting, and they could have all these terrible, abusive qualities. Mm-hmm. And commonly, families that do that and have those terrible negative traits that are exacted upon you will say blood is thicker than water as an excuse to force you, to let them do this to you.
Right, yeah.
I hate it. It is something I hate so much, and it's such an archaic belief that you have to tolerate this verbal, mental, even physical abuse because they're your family. Whereas if this was your significant other, if this was your friend or someone you've known, a friend that you've known for 20 years and they were doing this to you, that same person would probably tell you to leave them, but it's okay for them to do it. And that is something I hate. And everyone should understand that just because they're family, and it might suck to cut them out of your life, but if that person causes you more pain than they cause you any happiness, they don't deserve to be in your life. They don't deserve you, because they shouldn't be able to torture you the way that they do. And if you try to, you can try to work on it, you can approach it, and you can work with them. But if they refuse to work on their problems, I was very lucky that my family worked on their issues. But a lot of people don't get that. A lot of family members are just no, screw you. This is how I'm going to act. And if you don't like it, then you're abandoning your family and you're therefore a bad person. And that's not true. That is not correct. Right. If you wouldn't tolerate this behavior from your spouse, you shouldn't tolerate this behavior from your family. And if you wouldn't tolerate, if you go to your best friends and they're oh, I would never do that to you. If the people who love, if they love you, they wouldn't do this. And if you brought it to their attention, one thing my therapist always says to me, and it's so critical, is you tell somebody that what they're doing upsets you for two reasons. One, in case they might not know. They might not have any idea that what they're doing is bad. They might not be aware of their toxic behavior, and you just need to make them aware so that they have an opportunity to change. And two, do they care about you and value you enough to change their behavior so that they're not hurting you? Mm-hmm. And those are incredibly telling traits, because if they keep doing it and they're not doing anything to try and work on their behavior,
there's your
they
answer.
Don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
And as much as it sucks to have to lose family members to that, what is the benefit of having them around? Like title? Like, oh, I want to keep my brother in my life because that's my brother. I only have one brother. So what? Like, if your brother's making your life hell and not making you happy, why? What's the point of that title? Like, you can start calling someone else your brother. Like, this is my brother, like a best friend or something.
Right.
You know,
you guys
like
are my family.
Yeah,
family.
That's why we call each other the
like
fan band, because we are a family and we don't deal with toxic shit.
Oh, we do that? I just realized that.
We're the fan band. But that's something like that is so dear to my heart that I always struggle with when people come to me about and they're dealing with toxic family. And it's something that I've like gotten down to a T on how to deal with. And I always try to teach people or train people on how to deal with it. And it's so hard for me to like not get involved, because sometimes I'm like, oh, your father's being a piece of shit. I'm gonna come in there. I'm gonna handle this. I'm gonna fuck his shit up.
I totally agree with what you're saying. I think, you know, I've been blessed with, like, I've had family that is so the opposite of toxic. That, you know, like,
your family is great.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine, you know, like being split from them, but like I understand, like I've had other toxic relationships in my life that I'm no longer a part of, and you know, it was difficult to do that, and I can only imagine how difficult it would be for like a family member. So like, well, like I absolutely do agree. Like it is a difficult thing. Like, you know, I do have sympathy for people that do that.
Work.
Like it's tough. Like I do feel like a bond with people, like a, you know, like the bond I have with my brother is very close. That is just very, like, you know, there is something, you know, about having like a family member there. It's just like, it's just like this incredible like protectiveness that you have of them.
Yeah.
So like even like when someone like there's like, you know, plenty of memes about it. Like I'll like insult my brother like all day, but like if somebody else insults him, like I'll square up. Like it's like it's things like that. Like, and it's just there is, I feel like between family, like just such like a strong bond. Like even naturally, like, and I'm speaking from a good family. So like but I can only imagine that even in a negative situation, it is similar. So like
it's hard. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's something that I had to consider doing. You know, several years ago, I had to consider cutting like family members out because I wasn't seeing any change. Thank God it happened. So like now, I've evolved to like that good family status for the most part. But it's not easy. I'm not saying this is an easy thing, but what baby steps would be cutting their access to you. That's literally the first step you can do, is like, don't make yourself as available to them and try and maybe avoid them. Like, don't be around them as much. You know, I'm not saying cold turkey, but like working on steps towards moving away from having them in your life and giving them access to you is very important, because you'll notice, like you will, like it happened to me. You start to notice, and you know, and I will say, like, you know, I think with us, like, I think we rip on each other all the time. And if someone outside our group was like saying some shit, I'd be like, hey,
let me at him.
Be like, see this cross? Don't cross me. That's what that's for. Like,
and then, as we're getting the shit beaten out of us here.
But like, that's so you can rebuild these intense relationships with other people. But you know, I feel that what a lot of people deal with in these toxic situations is they have this, and most of them, they have this belief of who this person is, and they define this person based off the 5 good things that they've done, whereas they have done a numerous amount of terrible things to you that you just ignore because it hurts to remember, and you don't want to believe that someone related to you would do that.
I'm guilty of that, because I'm one of those people. I see the best in everyone. I try to.
That's such a common thing, and that's how everyone. But like people who are manipulative, people who are not great, who are toxic people, they know that, and that's
and they manipulate it and they use it against you. Yeah, no,
literally pieces about these people. Like they fall into the dark triad thing. They're evil, you guys. evil.
Evil.
I mean, you shouldn't really call them evil, but they're not great,
Unhealthy.
and they require a lot of work. They need a lot of therapy.
Because most of them have their own shit going on,
Yeah, I've always kind of found, like, coming from a very, very large family, I know you guys have met a few of my cousins, and maybe that's just scratching the surface. But honestly, it's purposely done that way. Like, there's some people I'm like, hey, we're relatives, but that's kind of how I view it as. It's just like, hey, yeah, you're my relative. They'll look at you and be like, oh, we were doing so. You're doing better than me, so therefore you should put yourself, to a detriment in order to help bring me up. Now, I mean, I'm all about trying to help somebody who's trying to help themselves. But I'm not just going to sit there and carry people either. And in big families, it's just kind of, it's like an odds thing. It's like it's kind of bound to happen. You're going to have relatives and cousins who kind of were, and just didn't get it together.
You should never feel guilted into doing that anyway. Like, it should never be like,
I do not. Yeah. Like, I'm like,
well, hey, I mean, have people tried? Like, that's like, if somebody said, like, that's your cousin, you should buy them that house. Like,
I mean, they will. Like, some people will be like, oh, no, you guys should work it out. And honestly, it's like, I still keep them at a length distance to be like, hey, look, you know what? Here's $20. You don't have to worry about paying me back. They'll ask you for 100. Oh, I'll pay you back Friday. I know for the boy, you're not going to. Here's 20. Yeah. Leave me alone. Right. Okay. It's just, I'd rather that than to do something and have to be riding around and dealing with it. Like, it just makes more sense to me that way.
Mm-hmm.
I gotcha.
Yeah, guilt.
Family can set you up real quick and have you sitting there holding the bag, talking about like, oh yeah, my bad, I'll pay you back 1 year. Like,
That's the thing, though. That's what I like. The importance of the family thing is such a. I think saying it feels like a weakness almost. Like it gives people this power over you because you're related, that they are able to just kind of get what they want out of you.
Right.
And I don't know. I think it's so empowering to just sit there and say, you may be my family, but you don't own me. Like, you don't, like, I don't owe you. I don't owe you anything.
Because you're my family. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I do this because I want to, because I love you, because I care about you, not because some like blood makes me do this. Like, you should act kind because that's what you want to do. You should do something, because you want to.
It's true.
Not because
you should never feel guilted into doing anything in life.
Yeah,
anything.
Really. That's how the worst things happen. If someone makes you feel like shit to do something, unless it's like, like there are situations where it's just like, hey, like, you should have done this, which I've definitely been there with. Like, but if it's something that you're just like uncomfortable doing, or no. Right. Like, don't give people that power. This episode is brought to you by giving yourself power.
Buy my book.
To reclaim your power, reclaim your time.
To reclaim your power, please send FanBam a check for $20.
If you don't, we will guilt you.
We will take it back. And on that note, I think Wilbur needs to go. And Kayla, you got some homework to do, so I guess we can call it tonight. But thanks for coming with us on this
thanks for
deep
tuning
trip
in.
That we made a few detours, but stop pointing at us. Later, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.